Loki. What's going on, everybody?
Yeah, we did it.
That was terrible. Disney does it better. Welcome to the recap show for Loki season 2, episode 5, releasing tonight. So we decided to do a midway show. I mean, I do know math, so I know there's 6 episodes. We're doing it based on 4, 5's coming out, so kind of midway. But I'm joined by Mr. Rocksteady. Rocksteady, how you doing, sir?
Lovely. This is interesting. The pre-record. We are in the past, so we are speaking into the future.
So weird,
This is
man.
basically we're time slipping.
So weird, dude. It's
I'm not doing it again.
all right, guys. Well, let's get right into it because I can't wait. A lot of people obviously watch the show. It's obviously been the one success from this last, this phase that we're in, right? Ever since Endgame and things like that. So it has been, the hot topic. Of course, that's what happens. That's what Disney wanted with these shows. One thing that seems to be, what everybody says is, I can't wait. The show leaves you kind of going. There's no flat line. It just keeps going. So let's get it going, man. Let's start it. Season 2 recap. And let's begin with, I think it's a no-brainer, but we should be starting off with what our thoughts are with Mr. Loki. So Rocksteady, I'll let you start off first, man. Where do you see Mr. Loki thus far?
Like, we only got the one glimpse of him as the evil Loki. Like, I know in the last episode he referred and he had that moment in the room where he's like, "We are gods," right?
Mhm.
But we haven't seen that dark side of him. So he seems like a Loki out for redemption so far. That's what the idea has been, and with Owen Wilson, Mobius, whatever his name is. Um, Again, that chemistry between those two, and with Obi and Brad Wolf, I think everything has been so tightly knitted so far, and just the chemistry of the show feels so real because it only takes one person to ruin the chemistry of an entire group, right? And I think
Yep.
we've seen that in some of the shows, especially when it's the main character and they don't have chemistry. That can be really tough. And I really like what they've done so far with that. And they've casted this great and they've written it great.
I don't think I've ever liked Loki as much as I have in this season. Even season 1, I was starting to like him a little bit more. So it kind of worked out. And then this season, I'm like, you almost, and it's funny that you say and you bring up Brad Wolf, because it actually is funny because the 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 time that I actually clued in, like, oh shoot, like Loki is a villain, was when he actually reminded us when he was interrogating him, where he's like, you're
Yeah.
a whatever. So you kind of get lost in that because he is trying to do a lot of good and he is playing the role great. I mean, Tom is playing an unreal, role in this. This is arguably top, if not top 2 shows. I don't know what you could put above it. Maybe Loki 1 to this, but this one, like I said,
Yeah.
there's no flat line to it. It's been suspense, action, really great. Now, the only thing obviously is there's the trailer dropped for what's about to happen tomorrow, episode 5, but like it's just getting a little crazy, and he's playing it well. I know, as much as we're giving Jonathan Majors credit for playing all these different roles, essentially
We've barely seen him.
I know,
We've
but
barely
like
seen Jonathan Majors.
but essentially you have to look at Loki too, and like he's played different characters himself, right? The bad guy, the good guy, the just the in between. Like there's so many different levels to it. So I think that kind of gets taken away. But I'm really liking the way he's doing this role, and it's there's only 2 episodes left, so I can't wait. Marvel's is happening the day that this show ends, so probably
Oh, that's
connected
cool.
somehow. But we'll
I think
definitely
it's
see.
easy to root for Loki because we've all been canceled in one way or another in our
Mhm.
lives, right? And there's that battle where you're fighting these battles, but at the same time, you're trying to convince people that you're not a bad person.
Yeah.
So you have like these two battles going on moving forward. And I think we've all been in that position in one way or another. So like it's relatable. And I think that's the beauty of like really good superheroes is that they're
Yeah.
relatable. And I've spoken to this before as why I'm not a Superman fan. Like he's just perfect. And like that's just I, maybe for you, but not for me. This isn't
Yeah.
it's not relatable at all. Like I think everybody sees a little bit of themselves in Loki right now.
Oh, 100%. I can agree with that for sure. Another character I can see myself a lot of, or by or near. Well, that came off really weird, but we've got Miss Sylvie. Ooh! So listen, first episode, obviously we didn't really see her much other than, the elevator scene and everything like that. But since then, she's killed it. She's, kind of been the same person from season one that fans really loved. The thing is, and I picked this picture specifically because, when we were introduced to Sylvie in this season, I was under the impression maybe she forgot who Loki was. Maybe she was a different variant, whatever, just the way the buildup and the teasers were when this released. And just to find out that no, she's still crazy. She wants to kill all those variants. The only thing is she hasn't gone crazy. I think she's also finding that Loki is right. And we just saw that in the last episode, right? Like she had a chance to kill Victor Timely. She gives him a chance, right?
Yeah.
Even after she's in that room with OB and all those guys, like she's really trusting Loki. And I think that speaks for it. That group, even Mobius, I think looks at Loki now as the leader. They always look to him for stuff. And you saw it too with Loki. And I didn't, I thought about this like later on, but like, do you know when um, they're leaving the interrogation room and he punches the guy and he starts walking out and then he goes, "Where are we going?" And then Loki's like, "I was following you." And then Mobius was like, "I was following you." And I think that line went under a lot of people's radar because I really do think that was a transition into, hey, we're following you, like you are the lead. But
Yeah,
Sylvie,
you notice it from the beginning where they really questioned everything about Loki, where they're like,
mhm,
"Okay, how can we trust you?" Like that kind of thing in season one. And now in season two, there's no questioning him. They go with the flow. People understand that he's fighting for the good guys.
yeah. Now with Sylvie, what are your thoughts and where do you see this character going? Because as I picture this in my head, like I feel like this character is probably done after this season because I don't know. Like I feel like at some point, I know we've talked about time loop and that's what it seems the next two episodes are going to be. But I think somebody's going to have to sacrifice themselves, and I think it's going to have to be the love story that's going on here with this variant.
So what I'll say is if we lose Sylvie, we lose all the other variants. I think if there ends up being just one Loki, either at the end of this season or somewhere in Secret Wars or however they play it out, I don't think like we want OG Loki, right? I think they got to tighten up the timeline again and get back from multiverse to one universe. And with that, we lose all the variants. And I think that's the direction we'll head. Do I think she's done now? No, not right now.
Oh,
Um, but yes, I don't see her being like the everlasting in the MCU.
damn. Crushed. All those people holding on to Lady Loki and all that stuff, those
Sorry,
books.
bro.
Damn. Well, one book that's probably, it's hard to say because he changes so many damn roles, but Mr. Jonathan Majors, I mean, in this series, we get a lot of them, right? So he was supposed to be in 3 episodes. We now have got him in 3 episodes. He's in the trailer for episode 4, so we're gonna get him more than expected. He's probably gonna be here throughout. Um, Another great performance. I don't know about you. Me personally, I love how he's able to shift into these different characters from going to Ant-Man, from He Who Remains in Loki 1 to now this in Loki 2. I think he's done a phenomenal job. You can see the differences in each character. And even with the time difference, right? Like, this is supposed to be a guy from, the 30s or the 40s, somewhere around that time frame, even maybe 1800s, and he's
Yes.
killing the role, right? So
Yeah.
I still have question marks about what's going to happen with this. Some people have said, hey, like, I think that's just Kang. He's just fooling everybody. But it is confusing. But where do you stand with Jonathan Majors? And how do you think he's done with the role? Especially seeing how, like, beginning of the show and before the show, rather, everybody was up in arms about, like the arrest stuff and all that. So we didn't really know what was going to happen, if they would cut him out or anything like that. But he's been in this show very prominently.
He's been great. Uh, I wouldn't say prominently because he only really came on what the last episode and a half kind of thing. For the most part, but yeah, so I want to say we won't see him again, Victor Timely. But
What?
with that being said, I do have a crazy theory, but I don't know.
You want to
So
share,
then
or do
that
you want to
goes
wait till?
against
Do
everything.
you want to wait till the
Yeah, we'll
prediction
wait
time?
through predictions.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Um,
Woo.
yes, I think he's been great. Yeah, we'll get into it later.
All right. Perfect. All right. Let's get into another character, and well, two characters really, but we've got Miss Minutes, aka Miss Freak a Lot, and Renslayer. So this relationship throughout this whole show, I've started to, I'm driving and I'm like, are they together? Are they not together? Are they fighting? Are they gonna backstab each other? Like, there's been so many ways that this relationship has been depicted during this season that is really hard to know if they're on the same team, if they're going after the same thing. Like, Miss Minutes obviously has more knowledge than Renslayer, and it just seems a little weird to what, like, what's the end goal here? Because it seems like they're going to take over.
The revelations of these two have been very interesting. I have a feeling that Miss Minutes was almost programmed by Kang, and because of that, or is a variant of Kang perhaps, and because of that, is in love with themselves and therefore in love with Kang,
Mm,
and that's where I think the whole Miss Minutes thing comes from. Renslayer is just power hungry, right? And that's why she wants to be she's a gold digger, but a power digger. To be honest, I think this is gonna go for a spin now.
yeah, I think she is the villain, and she's probably gonna go. I mean, technically, Miss Minutes is already gone, right? Like, she's offline. She's been destroyed. Don't forget the last time we saw Miss Minutes, she had said, "Victor, you will never be him," and then she just kind of goes old school. So
Yeah.
the one thing that I will add too is I don't think Miss Minutes knows about Kang. I think all she knows is He Who Remains. So I think that's another interesting thing to, kind of get at, because she hasn't made the reference to Kang. She hasn't made the reference to any different variants. She just knows Victor becomes He Who Remains, basically.
Which is
That's
who
fine.
built the place,
Exactly,
right?
right? So,
Yeah.
all right. So there has been a few Easter eggs throughout the show. So really quickly, let's get into a few. So we've got the Kingo from Eternals. Now remember, he's a movie star. He's through time. So this is from episode 2 when they go back to get Brad Wolf. You see the poster in the background. Eternals, obviously, I mean, it fits the timeline. They're around. They've got the technology. Ramatut. There's been an Egyptian little Easter egg in 3 out of the 4 episodes so far. The only one that hasn't had one was episode 1, and even that, I think that's wrong. I probably missed it, but there's been, those. There's obviously been the Shang-Chi one as well.
Yeah.
And then let's not forget the door, but we've got the X-Men door that everybody was going crazy for in the first episode. So Rocksteady, with the Eternals, with the X-Men, with the Ramatut, what are your expectations? Because I mean, they're just Easter eggs. Like, for me, I always say these are funny because after these episodes are done, it doesn't matter what show. There's always, people out there that are like, "Hey, man, 964.5 Easter eggs you missed," and I'm always shocked to know that I
What was
missed
the one with
900 of them.
Deadpool in like the storm? And
Oh
they saw a
yes,
glimpse of Deadpool in the glass or
yeah,
something
yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
And there was Captain Carter in that too. Yeah, that
Yeah,
was for Doctor Strange. Yeah, there was like 1,000 characters supposedly,
yeah.
and like,
It's just to
but
tie it all together. I just think an Easter egg is supposed to be cool. It's not necessarily supposed to lead to anything. Like it's more of a nod, if
mhm.
that makes sense, to other projects or whatever. Like I think the Eternals reference is just a reminder that this is a story about gods and Eternals, if that makes sense.
Yep.
The X-Men is probably I wonder if the writer's just doing be like, let's see which one they bite on. I think the Ramatut has a very real possibility of coming true. Um, if it leads to a Secret Wars direction, in my opinion. But yeah, It's fun stuff. It's nods to other projects.
Has there been an Easter egg that you might have caught that maybe we're not talking about right now, but is there an Easter egg that you caught that you thought, hey, that's kind of cool, or oh, because I remember in season one, I found that there was the Iron Man mask in the He Who
Yeah.
Remains like off, and I thought that was so cool. And then people were like, "Oh, I didn't even notice that." And obviously, of course, me being an Iron Man fan, I would spot the Iron Man mask. But like, has there been an Easter egg that maybe you saw that you were like, "Oh,
In all honesty, I've just been sitting back and enjoying this show.
nice"?
Other shows I've dove into and I've tried to watch like those recap shows where they explain every single Easter egg, but on this one, I've just been like, this one has been making me think, and I'm enjoying thinking about it, and I
Yeah.
don't want to spoil that and be steered in a specific direction. So nothing has really stood out to me, but I've noticed a few nods here and there.
All right. I know our friend Mr. BC couldn't be here with us tonight, but we've got our ratings so far from the show. So 4 episodes in, we've got the rating. So for me personally, and I'll just go first, it's a 9 out of 10. I don't believe in perfection anything. Uh Not even this hair. No, I'm just kidding. I think it's a 9 out of 10. I really do think that, from start to finish so far, I'm watching all the episodes before the new episode comes. You're falling in love with Loki. It's action packed. There's no flat line. You're always thinking. It's making you think. It's kind of like a lost factor. And I always talk about that where, you can't wait for the next episode because you want one thing answered. But then as soon as that thing's answered, there's like 5 more questions. And you're like, God damn it. So
Yeah,
there's
like
that
the end of the
factor.
last one.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, seriously? We just found out like this now. Yeah. So, but that's a good thing too at the same time. So it's kind of ironic that I say that. Mr. BC so far has given it an 8 out of 10. I think he doesn't want to go too far to the 9, but he also doesn't want to give it anything lower. I know he's enjoyed it. But what about you? Because you're here to speak for yourself. So 8 out of 10, same as BC.
I think it's been fantastic, well written, well cast. The chemistry of the characters, as I mentioned, is fabulous. The only thing where it's not a little bit higher is I do feel there were some slow spots.
Mhm.
That's one part for me. Some of the chases were a little corny when you have to realize like it's Loki. Um, Also, with that being said, like I want more supernatural fighting, um, and more of that kind of action, and we haven't gotten that. Even just a little bit more,
Mhm.
but 8 out of 10 is hella solid. Like
Big time.
I love this thing, and it's not even over. Wait till I can put it all together, and some of the stuff that doesn't make sense to me now makes sense. I
Exactly.
think it'll be great.
Overall, Greg, can I ask, is there something in the show that you're disappointed in or something that hasn't hit? Like, is there a character that you looking forward to that you were like, oh, I hope it does this or it goes like this, but it didn't? Like, it's not the same. Like, is there anything you don't like?
Mm, Not really. No, nothing stands out to me as horrible, awful, anything like that. I do think they could speed up some of the slower parts, but beyond that, I have very few complaints.
It's time. Prediction time. Rocksteady, I'll let you go first, man, because I'm more interested in yours than I think you are in mine. So let's hear your theory. Let's hear your prediction. What are your thoughts? And where are we in 2 weeks' time when this show ends?
Okay, so what do I want to see and versus what do I think will happen? So what I want to see is that time that they made it so you could use magic again in the
Mhm.
TVA, and I think Loki time slipped. And I'm wondering if we time slip back to where we originally started in the movie, and he has to do things differently to save the TVA this time. And he
Wait,
has to
wait, which
learn from
movie?
his
Which movie? Which movie are we going back
or in
to?
this show, sorry.
Oh, okay,
So
okay.
like when he goes back to the beginning of season 2 and he has to do things differently to ensure there's a different outcome. So that's kind of what I want to see here, where it's almost like a reset. He goes back to the beginning and
Mhm.
okay, let's do this over because we got to get this right this time.
Okay.
What I think will happen is that he used magic to either protect himself or he is dead, and there is a different Loki that is ensuring that this version of Loki, this version of Sophie are all gone, so nobody stands in this Loki's way. Because in the comics, there is a King Loki,
Mhm.
whereas if Kang got the universe, he would give Loki Asgard if he helps him. So I wonder if there's a evil Loki out there.
Damn.
Hot
Okay.
take, yeah.
Remember two guys, the director, the producer, they all came out and said, at season two's end, you will not be left with a cliffhanger. Now, that could be BS or that could be legit. I like to think that I trust people until they break my trust. So I'm trusting Disney. I'm trusting Marvel right now in them saying that there is no cliffhanger. So I don't know what my answer is if like somebody going to be listening to this being like, "Well, wait a minute, that's a cliffhanger." But I think we get to the end of this and the variants are gone, so it's just Loki standing there, but he's literally just having to continuously do the same thing over and over and over, kind of like an Edge of Tomorrow. I think there's like an Are You Afraid of
Try
the
to get it
Dark
right.
series, yeah, like so kind of to your point, right, where he's got to make sure that he does it right, but he doesn't figure it out yet. So I think he's
Mm.
going to be stuck in that loop, but we lose a few characters to the fact that like, hey, he knows he's got to do this, but he's got to lose Sylvie. So then the next
Yeah,
time
he can't waste time going and getting
exactly.
Sylvie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think that's where we're going. I'm shocked and surprised that we haven't. And again, we still got 2 episodes, but I'm shocked that we haven't seen some of the characters from season 1. So Kid Loki, Alligator, Frog or whatever the Frog Thor guy, I can never pronounce
Yeah.
the name.
Throg.
Yeah, Frog. So I don't know. It's going to be very interesting to see that King Loki thing. I mean, you've discussed it a few times. I think BC's discussed it, and it's been something that I've thought about. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens. That definitely the build up for Secret Wars and all that stuff is clearly kind of paving the way. So
Do you think Secret Wars this time around is going to be different battles on different timelines trying to defeat the different Kangs?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, so it'll be like Moon Knight, Ramatut. Maybe we get something like that, and then somewhere else we'll get Immortus or Iron Lad or something along those
I
lines.
think that that's how it's going to be. Yeah, like
Okay.
each phase is gonna have like their variant that they're gonna fight. So like, yeah, Moon Knight, She-Hulk, Miss Marvel, like they're gonna fight one, or Captain Marvel, Spectrum, Miss Marvel, like they're gonna fight one kind of thing. Yeah, I totally see it kind of being like that, but there's gonna be a lot of firepower because we need the X-Men, we need Fantastic Four, we're gonna need Spidey, we're gonna need the Avengers. Like there's gonna be a lot of characters here, so there might be some more variants or different variants that we're not thinking about that could possibly be there. Or what if those Kang variants, hook up with other variants from other people and it becomes something like that. So you have like King
Exactly. Yeah.
Loki, fighting alongside Kang, and like that's another thing that I kind of go down. So it's definitely very interesting. I don't know about you. I love absolutely. I don't even know why this wasn't a thing for the previous shows, but I love the fact that nobody can see it until Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern time. Like I love the fact that that's a
Yeah.
thing.
Same.
You know what I mean? Because then
Same.
I don't have
Because
to rush from work or wake up early to watch it and then like avoid talking to anybody. Like I can watch it. I know at 9 o'clock it's going to happen, so 9 o'clock I'm going to watch it.
I remember waking up at 6:30 a.m. to watch Marvel shows because like you can't go on Instagram then. You can't
No.
go like on YouTube because there's spoilers everywhere, which makes it not as fun. So I would literally wake up and with my bowl of cereal watch my episodes. I think it was Wednesday mornings before,
Yeah,
right?
Wednesday and Thursday. Yeah, during
And
COVID, it
now
was
that it's at the
Mondays and
same
Thursday.
time, I come home, we have dinner, and then my girlfriend and I, we can't wait to watch it.
Oh
And
man,
then we tune into BC after that, and we watch his take. And it's really cool watching his show because it's like instant reaction, right? You
Mhm.
don't have time to think about it. You don't have time to watch these shows and weigh the options. It's like, okay, what's your immediate reaction? And like the passion's there because like after the last one, it's confusion, right?
Yeah,
So, and that was very evident, and it's cool to be a part of that. It's like watching those stupid Big Brother shows or whatever, and you have now the pre-show, the show, and the post-show.
Yeah, I totally agree. And speaking of BC, again, he wasn't here to join us, so maybe he'll be here for the end of the series. But this show airing tomorrow because we're in the future or we're in the past. But make sure, right after checking us out and you watch the episode, go check out Black Crown Comics. He's going to do it with Chia Pet and Mr. Anthony, 10:30 p.m. Eastern time. And yeah, you can dissect, you can talk. It's raw. It's like instant reactions to the show. So make sure you guys go check him out. Rocksteady, let the people know, man. Where can they find you? And again, thank you so much for hanging out and talking Loki, dude.
Of course, it's fun. That's all I want to talk about is Loki. I do it at work, and like, have you watched Loki yet? They're like, no, Greg. You already even asked me that today. It's like, well, like, I don't know. I just want to talk about it. It's just there's a lot inside of me that I need to get out. But you can find me on Instagram, Rocksteady Collectibles, and you can find me this Sunday at the Edmonton Collector Con. I will be set up and slinging the goods.
Slinging the gits. And you guys already know you can find me Newbie Comics on Instagram, on YouTube, formerly of OnlyFans, but I got banned. I don't know why. We'll find out. I'm just a big fish there, I guess. But you can find me
there
there.
was a big fish there, and he got banned.
You can find me there. All right, guys, enjoy Loki episode 5. We're nearing the end and then reaching to Captain Marvel. So there's not going to be a lot after that. December, January, there's it's going to be pretty cold. No Marvel stuff, but we'll make it through. So join us again. Again, Greg, thanks so much for joining. All right, guys, enjoy episode 5. Later.
Love you.